Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell, guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, now let's get into the show.
Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Jason Shupp on the line, and he is president of Ferguson Roofing Company. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. So if you've been watching this show for a long time, then you know this is one of my favorite episodes. It's when we announce a brand new Mission Matters author into our community. So first off, if you haven't seen this show before, so part of what we do at Mission Matters is we scour the country. Heck, we scour the earth. We publish people in Italy. We publish people in, I'm probably forgetting at this point, but we publish a lot of people, many countries. And our idea is, and what we're looking for top authors that have a great story that we feel is appropriate to publish and to tell. And we're not going to give all of the spoilers today, because when this book does come out later this year, we want you to pick it up. But the first thing is, we just wanted to introduce our brand new author, Jason, to our community. So first off, Jason, just want to say congrats on being selected for the new book.
No, I appreciate that. It's an honor and a privilege to share part of my story with the readers.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. So just to tee it up, and I'll get into a little later in the interview some of the reasons why I felt it was important to print your story and to publish it. Maybe just to start off, give us a little bit of background of your history as a business owner and the family business.
Well, we are a third generation business. So my grandfather started it many decades ago, and then my father was the second generation, and now I'm the third generation owner and operator of the business. And it was a reluctant start. I didn't think I'd be a part of the family business, but a lot of life circumstances brought me here, and I'm thankful and grateful that I've had that opportunity. But it's been an interesting journey, which family business is, and they're well-documented stories about family businesses. And it's been a very interesting journey, very positive in most ways. There's been challenges that are oftentimes predictable family businesses, not only dealing with the business side, which is always a challenge, but then the family dynamics that get mixed with that. And through my journey, I've learned a lot about family. I've learned a lot about business, what those terms and concepts mean and how they can be reframed. And a lot of my story that I'll be writing about is like my takeaways from my nearly 2 decades of being involved in the family business.
All right, so I want to go a little bit further back, and maybe more further back than you're used to thinking about when you think about the family business. But we're recording this in October. Holidays are coming up. We're going to be going into Thanksgiving soon. I'm always curious. Multi-family generation business, like what was it like around the holidays and Thanksgiving and this with all these business owners when growing up as a kid? Because I feel like so my dad was a business owner growing up. I feel like if you had entrepreneur parents or grandparents, like the conversations sometimes are a little bit different around the dinner table.
Thinking back to my youth, yeah, I don't recall that being a dominant part of the conversation. I had a wonderful childhood, and I just don't remember that being a dominant part of what we talked about. It wasn't really and I may just not have been paying attention. When you're younger, you just don't really think about those kinds of things. It wasn't really until I got involved with the family business that
Wow.
I realized there's a very different tone to the holidays where a lot of it was almost an advisory board meeting, with my father and oftentimes with my mother as well, and siblings at times too, talking about the business. It was a chance for my father in particular to catch up with what's going on,
Yeah.
while we were unwrapping gifts or cutting turkey or whatever it may be. But I don't recall a whole lot when I was younger with that dominating the conversation. I should ask my parents to see how much they did talk about that with us to get an idea of how much I just didn't listen to.
Doesn't that, now being in the driver's seat and the fact, and maybe you were sheltered from it, which is awesome. I mean, or if you have that conversation, it may go otherwise, and your dad might be like, I was telling you things, you weren't listening. But either way, now that you're in the driver's seat, doesn't it amaze you like how the other generations kind of manage the business, manage the family, now that you're in that position as a business owner?
It most definitely. It's interesting. I have a son who's nearly 8, and one of the things that I've learned from my colleagues is be very cognizant of how you talk about the business around your children, because that's going to really leave an impression on what they think about family business. So if you come home grumbling about things, they're going to take that away, which will not only affect their possible impressions if they ever want to get involved with the business, but just about business in general. So I'm very conscious about the conversations I have with my wife about the business and what I want my son to hear or not hear, so that I don't leave unfavorable impressions. But at the same time, use it as an opportunity to talk about the positive elements of business and a family business. So you just have to be mindful of your audience when they're impressionable.
Yeah, on many things, but I think and what I wanted to get out of you is exactly what I did. Was it's an interesting take when you're in a multi-generation business, and we don't always talk about that. And if you just look at what's going on in the country overall with our population aging and a lot of small business owners in the Midwest, or just really everywhere in the country, really, where they may be thinking about what's next for their business. Are they going to sell it, or is one of their heirs, or their kids, are they gonna run the business, or like what does that look like next? All this planning and everything else. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because I know we also have some younger viewers right now that are probably like, my parents want me to take over the business. They want to do this, and maybe I don't want to, or I do, and they're in the middle of those things. So love the context there.
Yes. You have to be. I was going to say you have to be conscious of legacy, early on. So that's again something that I'm better equipped now going forward. I'm sure my father did his portion of that. I just don't recall the holidays conversations. I definitely recall the conversations when I was working at the business. My in my youth. So we had a lot of experiences from that. Just wasn't at the table a whole lot when I was younger.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about the company. So I don't want to glance over that. So tell us a little bit more about Ferguson Roofing.
Well, we are a full service commercial and residential roofing company. That's our primary service. That's because that's our name. That's what's been branded in our community. But we do other services around homes or buildings, such as siding, guttering, masonry, and tuck pointing. So we really try and take care of a lot of the exterior of the structures for our customers. We're really well known for our warranties. We led the industry in the length of time that we warranty our projects, and that gives us these long relationships with our customers, where we'll be servicing them for many years. And that's what's allowed us to work with multiple generations of our customers. For instance, on a lot of our roofs, we have a 15-year service warranty. That's 5 years, which is pretty staggering for the service and product we're providing. So when we get back on a roof 14 or 15 years later, that's an amazing connection with your customers, when these are projects that don't oftentimes flip for 15 or 20 years, but to still stay connected with them and then do their roof again. Or by that time, there's a chance that, the next generation lives in the house. And then so now we get connected to that generation. So that type of long time connectivity with our customer base, and proven history of backing what we do, and that we're a stable, solvent business, has been one of the main, branding components of our business with the community, and that has really been infused in our culture with our people. Just really take it personally that they want to service their customers, and they just respect the legacy that we have with our customers for so many years. So we have really good people, and we really try and take care of our customer base.
One quick thing that you said there, and I do want to go further into the people and the culture, and because that's at the root of any business, it's the people. I want to go further into how you maintain that. But before I do, one thing you said that I don't want to assume everybody understands, because the only reason I know is because of a personal experience a long time ago. But when you say like the legacy and of being a company that's solvent, so it's one thing to, and not to, badger any other companies. We're not doing that, but I just want to highlight yours. It's one thing to write a 15-year warranty. It's another thing to actually still be there to, if something goes wrong, get some guys and, some gals out there on the roof to fix it. Right. Tell me a little bit more about that, just because I don't want to assume people understand what that means. It's
a very good point. And from a competition standpoint, we've asked our customers to look into that. As others have tried to match warranties that we do, we remind them that, have they been in business long enough to actually have the history to support that warranty or understand the processes involved? It's not easy servicing your customers for that long, and it would be hard for me to think how to do that. I fortunately had 2 generations before me to set the precedents, the business practices, the financial norms to allow for that type of service. And it is a challenge, though. It's something that we have to reevaluate every year, and how we make sure we can continue to deliver on that, because that's not only a large part of our lead generation and referral opportunities is that warranty and continued customer service, but that's what most impacts me if we ever have a failure in our business, if it's in the warranty area, because that's essentially our word that we're going to take care of it. And so that's, as the owner, that most impacts me, and I want to make darn sure that we're going to be able to deliver on that. And so I constantly have to keep the business strategic objectives in such a way that we can deliver on that year after year.
Let's go back to the concept and the idea of company culture, because not only are you obviously you're delivering on the warranty and the things that you say through your contract, but it's also to maintain the workforce and the company and the individuals that are doing the day-to-day work. That's something that's special too. Like to have that, and the people that are interfacing, interacting with the customers. Tell me a little bit more about like how you do that. Like, how'd that come about?
I would love to say it's due to a really strategic recruitment process, and I think that we have good habits and practices in place. But honestly, I think there's a portion of luck in the sense that the people we bring on, we just have good fortune that they not only are capable individuals, but just good souls and good humans. And they gravitate towards the vision and mission and values of the company. And again, we recruit for that as well. But we just have good fortune that we can find candidates and who become employees that actually can deliver on the job task, but also really live those values. And we work a lot on retention and tenure. We've been blessed, and before me, my father was very good at this, on having a lot of long-term employees. And that was during a generation when it was probably a little bit easier. But we've even in today's time, we still have the good fortune of having a lot of long-term tenured employees. And so we respect and are grateful for that, and we honor that by trying to make sure we have a culture that encourages them to want to stay. But that then allows these people to really continue to live the values of the business and express that to our customer base. but it's just the good fortune of good people walking in the door, and we figure out how to keep them.
Awesome.
Is just what has worked out for many years.
So I understand that that philanthropy, like you're active, you believe it's an important part of small business overall. I agree with you. I just feel like, and not just giving money, but time, resources, knowledge. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to be active in philanthropy. Tell me a little bit more about your view on this.
No, I appreciate you asking. We've always had a culture of giving or being generous or whatever would be an appropriate term, and that's something that's been kind of wired in the DNA, both of the bloodline and of the family, because my grandfather was like that. My father is an exceedingly generous man, and I hope these are some things that I was able to take from him. And now that I have opportunity to do something in the philanthropic space, being a student of business and really trying to learn as much about business as I can, I gravitate towards how can we apply that to the philanthropic space. And instead of just compartmentalizing philanthropy, which is oftentimes the way that it works, but actually trying to build it into the strategic objectives of the business. And then ultimately kind of getting back to the employee side, how do we use that as a recruitment tool so that we can get people who want to make an impact on society? Because if they're wired to do that, they're going to want to make an impact on the customers that we're servicing. So how are we able to better formalize a philanthropic strategy? And that's what I've been working on the last few years. My implementation is still a work in progress. My intentions, let's just say, my efforts haven't caught up with my vision yet. But I'm really passionate about that because small businesses make up the majority of businesses, in the United States. And even though individually we can't match the volunteer hours or the money spent that larger corporations can do, these Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000, if you aggregate all the small business efforts, then we can far exceed that. And I don't think the small business space appreciates how much we can move the needle if we just figure out how to have that be a part of our business practice rather than a side piece that you think about doing when you're not paying attention to your own business. I mean, I really think that we can make philanthropy and doing business go hand in hand successfully. That won't exhaust the limited resources a small business does, both on the human resource side and on the net profit dollars that you can give up as well. So that's really my goal, is to try and get that playbook established, not just for my own business, but to be a example of what others can do to really tie small business and philanthropic structure together.
Yeah, I see that. And in my end, I think as small businesses, it's one of those things exactly like you said. So together we're pretty strong. Like a lot of people, a lot of resources, a lot of cumulative knowledge to where we can get a lot done. And the more people that are out there like yourself, trying to figure it out, trying to bring people together, leading these efforts, in my opinion, the better. It just works.
Yeah, I was looking at one point, I introduced volunteer time off as a benefit to the business a few years back. It hasn't been realized as well as I've hoped, because it's not the people, but again, you have to work in these habits. Into the culture, and people have to get used to being not at work and still getting paid to go do something they're passionate about. So it's a process. But at the time, with our employee count, when I first introduced it, and the number of hours that were granted, it would have been the equivalent if I would have basically had someone take 6 months, off of work and dedicate full time to doing philanthropy.
Wow.
And if you think about that, and of course this would have been spread out over little dollops of hours, between multiple employees over the year, but it would have aggregated to like 6 months. And I'm thinking, if I actually was just suddenly available to do nothing but philanthropy for 6 months, how much I could do. And I'm just one small organization. And again, if all these other small businesses just had something like that, just the amount of person hours to move the needle is staggering.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those are the types of things that excite me.
That excites me as well. And I remember working for an organization that had that, and I haven't thought about this in years. Now that when you said that, it just popped in my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, I used to do I think it was like 8 hours, may have been 16 hours a year that they would give us, and we basically take a day off, and it's great. Team building exercise as well in this particular organization. We'd all go and we volunteer together at many different places, whether it was a shelter or something like that. We through the years we did quite a few different ones, but I remember that being something that also, just as the organization, like, it kind of brought us together. It was awesome for team building as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't want to, when I ask you this, Jason, two things. So for everybody watching this, the Jason's writing may evolve, number one. So we don't have to have this hard and fast in terms of the content that you're going to submit to the book, because you and I are still discussing and kind of working through some things. But I want to get a flavor for what you're writing. And we can't give it to everybody. Can't give it all on this one, just so you know. So we're going to give a flavor. We're going to dance around. We're going to get you excited. Why? Because the book's coming out. We want you to buy the book, and I'll bring Jason back on the show after the book is published so that we can do another chat. But what are your plans for your writing?
Ultimately, the umbrella theme is the concept of stewardship, which is really just taking care of something, somebody, an organization. It really can be applied in a lot of different ways. And my particular journey has shaped how I look at that concept, and not just how it's applied, but really how long it's applied. Being part of a generational business has really allowed me to think not only backwards on how we've come to be as an organization and a family, and how that's affected who I am today, but through my journey in the last, nearly the last, 2 decades in the business, how I look at the future generations. And my general perspective of time is much longer because of just my generational experience. I mean, I have to think the next day, the next week, the next month and quarter, like every other business owner. But generationally thinking just becomes wired into you, because that's just a part of a legacy business. And so I am taking that experience I've had and applying it to stewardship and what my lessons have been on what it means to take care of the organization and take care of people and the community at large, all framed under the umbrella of stewardship.
All right, so I'll just let you know I have 50 more questions for you, but we're going to cut it there because I'm not giving all the viewers all the content on this one. This is what you call a cliffhanger, because this book will be coming out, and don't worry, everybody that's been watching this show for a long time, everyone will know when this comes out. So Jason, first off, just want to say again, congratulations for being selected for our next edition, volume 6 of our Business Leaders edition. So you're joining a wonderful, amazing group of authors that are all very mission based and really just all stars and coming together. So I'll welcome you again to the community. So thank you for that.
I appreciate it.
And then next thing, if somebody wants to follow your journey, they want to learn more about obviously Ferguson Roofing or just connect with you in general, I mean, what's the best way for viewers to follow up?
I would say the best way at this point is email. I must be old school and that I'm not dropping a Twitter handle or something like that.
What do you mean you have LinkedIn too? Come on.
Well, LinkedIn, yes. LinkedIn is finding me on LinkedIn is a decent way from the social channels to contact me for sure. That's the one that I pay attention to the most personally. And then the other is email, of course, because I have to stare at those all day long, like many of us. And that's J Shupp, my first initial and last name, jshupp@fergusonroofing.com is a great way to contact me, or through LinkedIn, as Adam mentioned. And I'm happy to. I'm responsive with both, so I'll connect directly.
Awesome. Well, Jason, again, thank you for coming on the show today, and to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned a lot. I know I did. So if you did, especially if you're a first time listener or visitor, if this is your first time with us, hit that subscribe button. We have many, many more mission-based business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives coming on the line. They all come here, share their knowledge, share their time with us both. And I'd love for you to benefit from that. So stick with us and hit that subscribe button. And Jason, I'm excited to see that draft and to read it and to dig into your content and to get you published. So thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate everything.